Good afternoon.
Oh, gracious, what a wonderful occasion, what a wonderful day. Ida B. Wells would be so happy. I wanted to talk today specifically about Ida in Brooklyn, because we don't talk that much about her in Brooklyn. Beginning in Memphis in 1892, Ida B. Wells took the nation's first anti-lynching campaign across the country and throughout the British Isles. But no stop on her journey was more important than Brooklyn. It was Brooklyn that gave her her first home in exile, here on Gold Street. An exile from the threat of death in Memphis, an exile from the destruction of her newspaper, the Free Speech. It was in Brooklyn where she decided, quote, having lost my paper, had a price put on my life, I felt I owed it to myself and to my race to tell the whole truth now that I was here where I could do so freely. It was Brooklyn where her neighbor, T. Thomas Fortune, publisher of the New York Age, put her words on his front page with a screaming headline, "The Truth About Lynching." Wells's editorial was the first study of the practice in the United States. On those same pages, she wrote columns that celebrated friends who had escaped the lyncher's grasp, columns about injustice. She compared black life in the North and in the South. In the South, she wrote, blacks had fewer rights, but more opportunity to engage in lucrative occupations. While in the North, blacks had rights, but were excluded from the trades by the unions. It was in Brooklyn where Ida was introduced to one of the great black cultural centers in the nation, perhaps in the world. At a time when African Americans were promoting literature that redefined and enlightened the race, Brooklyn was an epicenter with its Concord Literary Circle, the Progressive Literary Union, the Star Lyceum, and the Brooklyn Literary Union. As the Brooklyn Daily Eagle, a white newspaper, noted in 1892, quote, no other group of people were fonder of literary pursuits than Afro-Americans. It was in Brooklyn where Wells herself spoke on Afro-American literature before the Concord Literary Circle in the Concord Baptist Church, and was reported to have drawn the largest audience that ever attended a literary meeting in that city. It was in Brooklyn where Wells got her chops as a debater. After losing a debate for Richard Lyons, the school principal whom Ida would later ask to tutor her in the art. It was Lyons who would bring Ida into the circle of black women activists, like Sarah Garnett, New York's first black public school principal, her sister, Susan Smith McKinney, the first black woman to practice medicine in New York State, Victoria Matthews, a leading journalist. It was in Brooklyn where the idea was born to have a testimonial for Wells that would draw leading black women activists from not only New York, but Philadelphia and Boston. A testimonial where, following the speeches and the resolutions and the music, Ida would speak for the first time, about the lynching of one of her best friends in Memphis. A lynching that turned her into an investigative journalist and an insurgent. It was in Brooklyn where a seed was sown to turn the gathering of women here, to join others across the nation to form the first black national organization of women in the country, the National Association of Colored Women, which helped her carry her campaign across the nation and became the foundation for progressive reform in the country. And it is Brooklyn where Ida B. Wells is recognized today through the efforts of so many who have gathered here, and where her spirit can now be made a permanent feature of this place.
Awesome.
Right.